Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to the Infinite Regression. Yes, that's right. We're here again. We can't escape this gnawing void that lives in the deep, dark pit inside of your soul. You feel like it's going to chew its way out of you, but it never does. It just grows, it expands. You feel like, oh my God, how can I have a gnawing void inside of me that's bigger than I myself am? Anyway, hey look, it's Islandcraft with Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons. Hey, I'm Rem Pemberton. Hello. Hey, let me play this theme song. Whoa, hey, you're jumping the gun. Do it right.
This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme. This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme.
Yes, this has always been the theme. Anyway, Minecraft. Yeah. Oh. Anyway, so here we are in my mine. It's barely bigger than it was. I finally went up yonder. First of all, I built my cheen, and there was great doubt as to whether or not I would build such a thing because I'm on an island, waste not, want not, except for Dingus Charles Mingus. There's freaking, okay, I shouldn't go up here with my practically dead armor. I was going to show you where I got lava, but then I got, nearly deaded by 2 skeletons, on my way out. So, that's not how we're living, and you don't know. That's the, opposite of MC Hammer. Hey, you can touch this. Hey, please, Hammer, go ahead and hurt him. You know what? You can go ahead and hurt him. And, they live how people tell them to live. They're the Addams Family. Yeah. Crime stories get all the glory. It's true. I'm just going to negate all MC Hammer songs, including the ones that you don't know. By the way, Crime Story by MC Hammer. Go freaking listen to that song. Hear how terrible it is, because it's got a gunshot sound in it that sounds like, okay, when your parents bought a Casio keyboard in the mid 1980s, early 1990s, it came with a gunshot sound. Unaccountably, no reason. Why is this here? A gunshot sound. You're going through, you're like, okay, these are, floor tom, rack tom, hi-hat open, hi-hat closed, the 3 different bass drums. Gunshot, hand clap, wait a minute. Gunshot? What the frick? Yeah, I mean, for children. I understand that this is America, but, sometimes it do be a little much. It do be a little much, America. Anyway. So, yeah, in Crime Story, the song by MC Hammer, it's a real, he's trying to be a real street prophet. And he's telling a story about his olden days as a hardened criminal. Too big in the hammer, rolling on the hit. Is true. 9s in their hands to the sound of a clip. And now they ready. Anyway, it's I'm not going to spoil it for you. I could give you so many more Crime Story lyrics. But I'm not going to. You got to listen to the song yourself. If I played it here, it's going to get content matched. And MC Hammer is going to make money off of it from my video. He should make money off of it from his own video. Oh, here, give me some of that. 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 Did I get some of that? Ooh, a golden helm. Golden helmet of Membrino. There can be no helm like thee. Talk about that golden helmet of Membrino. I don't need to tell you about the Don Quixote. You are clearly Don Quixote fans from the Wayback Wins. Oh, I died like 7 times, by the way. Like, I got killed by an Enderman. I have only drowned once while building... Oh, you don't even know the stupid thing I'm building right now. Okay, let me... Oh, this freaking guy. I swear to God, if I just kill every zombie that falls out my chute, I'll never get up the stairs. Anyway, so... Okay, let's get up out of the mine. Let's go take a gander, take a look-see, take a whatnot. See what there is to be seen. Oh, look, this is very normal. I put some hay bales out because I'm stupid. And I'm like, I have no idea what affects friendly mob spawning. And do you know what affects friendly mob spawning? Light levels, grass blocks, and distance from you. That's like it. That's all of the things that, you know, affect the friendly mob spawning. So, yeah. That's the thing. And so those are, I was like, no mobs are spawning. I can't get friendly mobs. For frick's sake, give me friendly mobs. You know, I'm a friendly guy. Look at this face. Look at it. Oh, I don't have a camera on because I don't want you to see this face? Yeah, that's right. I don't want my identity to be known. I'm like Batman, who could be anyone. You know, millionaire playboy. Different millionaire playboy. Anyway, regardless. So I've been building this, which is a stupidly large, for no frick reason, underwater lair. Because I'm an evil villain, apparently. I mean, I sit down here and I plan to throw papers at freshmen. More evil things no one ever did think of more than throwing papers at freshy type mans. Oh, BT dubs. Let's talk about recent developments. So yeah, we had a meeting. Oh, what the? Hey, who let you live? Who let you be alive? I said no. I said no to your being alive. Not even your living deaditude is acceptable to me. Nothing about your existence is worth having around. Yeah, that's right. I said it, and I'll say it again. You're like the San Antonio Spurs of existing, meaning that the fact that you do annoys the crap out of me. Anyway, sorry. I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, and the fact that the Spurs stole some championships from the Suns, you know, and refs betting on the game and whatnot, and y'all playing dirty, trying to roll people's ankles and body check our, you know, all-star point guard, MVP point guard into the freaking scorers table. You just body check them, and then our players get suspended. I'm not still bitter about that. No, you freaking San Antonio Spurs. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of letting you know that I'm upset and wish that Manu Ginobili would freaking, you know, have all the worst things in the world happen to him. I wish he, you know, develops, you know, carbuncles on his oversized schnozeroo and freaking that they don't ever abate. Yeah, that's right. I said it. No abating for his carbuncles on his gigantic olfactory organ. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I freaking said it. Hey, that's them's fighting words. Literally. Those are literally fighting words. Those words are made for fighting. That's just what they'll do. One day those words will probably result in you having gotten in a fight without your having realized it. You know, like, I never stopped to think about this. There are probably people who enjoy the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, how could you? But, like, people probably do, you know. I mean, they're fans all across the world, and some of them, in the same way that, like, people all across the world are like, yeah, I like Manchester United, and they don't know how, like, freaking intolerable Man U fans are. Anyway, yeah. So, and how could they know? How could they know? They're from Burundi. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, San Antonio Spurs fans from Burundi, I'm sorry. I'm sorry what I said about your guy Ginobili, upon whom I still wish all the ills that have ever befallen mankind. Ever. Like, anything you can imagine that's bad, I wish to happen to him all at once. But, nothing personal. Nothing personal. I just wish him a fate in which he openly wishes for death and does not get it. Anyway, it's no hard feelings. Like, none, though. But, like, no hard feelings. But, like, seriously, R.E. the hard feelings? It's like, no, none of them. It's like, nope. It's like, you thought I had some? Nope. Nope-a-rooskies. Anyway, hey, let's go back and go to a quick bed. So yeah, I'm building a giant underwater lair. I don't own a giant fluffy white cat. I mean, I own a small fluffy white cat, but she's not my favorite. My favorite is the sleek black kitty, who twice this evening has come out and has been like, you need to give me care and attention. And I'm like, yeah, I freaking do. And then she's like, pet the crap out of me, make it good. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting on you, kitty. I'm a pet you so good. And yeah, it's very intense, very, like, emotionally charged, because, she's like my living security blanket. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a security blanket could be alive, that is what my kitty is to me. And so she yeah, when she gives me the loves is like quite literally saving my life in so many ways. So yeah, she, like, honestly has done as much, if not more, than venlafaxine, my fantastical medication that I take. Yes, the medication for my anxiety and depression. Yeah, I used to take the sertraline, but the side effects were not the best. And guess what? Half of these kind of medications is choosing side effects that you're like, well, I don't want these side effects, but these ones I guess aren't that bad. These are your trips to the doctor's office now. Like, hey doc, I tried it, and it's not as bad as either being depressed or suffering all the side effects from the previous medication. Therefore, I think we're a go. I think we won. I think we just won the game, doc. You and me, we're a team. Yep, we're a total team. I don't want to break coral, but like I'm gonna have to just a little bit. Just a little bit. Dead horn coral. Oh, it's dead now. I killed it, and that makes me sad. I don't want to be that guy. But like I'm trying to sacrifice as little coral as possible. That's why like you see how this has intersected with practically no coral. Yeah, that's because of reasons of me having planned it that way. Thank you. Never getting credit for that. People are always like, "Oh, but you killed a coral," and I'm like, recognize the good that I do. You know, what am I, freaking Benito Mussolini of Minecraft, huh? You know, the surprising fascist, the one that you're like, wait, Italy? Italy? Like, Italy, though. But, like, Italy. Like, I mean, I understand mafiosos, and that's, like, really kind of done and over with, and also it was kind of maybe just mostly one specific area that was, you know, crime infested and terrible. Anyway. So, yeah. What am I? The that of being this guy in Minecraft, huh? Is that what I am to you? Just the that of being this guy in Minecraft? Seriously, it's like you don't even know me. It's like we haven't ever met. Okay, I've really got to close this room off because I don't want to hurt the coral. And it makes me sad that I've heard it as much as I have. And so, like, I think I'm just going to do a straight line straight across right there. Of course, it's going to have to, you know, result in some sadness and sorrow, but, you know. Boop boo doo boop 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 boo doo 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 boop boo doo boop boop boo doo 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 boop boo doo boop 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 boo doo 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 boop boo doo boop boop. You know that song. Sing it. Just kidding. Anyway, regardless. Okay. I'm very excited to start draining this swamp. Oh, you pronounce it swamp? Philistine. Anyway. Yes, that's right. I use very old-timey insults. Yeah, that's right, friend. I'll do to you what the God of Abraham did to the Canaanites. Just kidding. Well, I mean, I'm not kidding about what the God of Abraham did to the Canaanites. He freaking hated those people. Like, he hated those people as much as his people hated those people, which would seem like a coincidence until you think about it for a second, and then you're like, oh, of course he would hate them as much as his people hated them. Like, durr. What's he gonna do? Not hate them as much as his people hate them? He's like an all-perfect, all-seeing, all-knowing being. Like, why would he not openly hate certain children of his creation who are not of the chosen race that he chose of all his people, and was like, nope, just these ones. Those are my main ones. My main ones. If you want to know which ones are my main ones, it's these ones. Anyway, and he's like, and I'll let my chosen people kill as many of those ones as they want. I will command. As a matter of fact, if they don't kill them well enough, I might kill some of my chosen people for not killing well enough. And like, if they refuse to do, you know, important and necessary things like kill their babies and their animals and salt the earth that nothing more may grow, then I will put the hurt on my own people, because you gotta follow orders. Like, What are you not gonna do my bidding all the time? What the freak? Like, I thought we had a deal. I made a promise to your great 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 grandfather, and now you have to murder some babies because I told you to, and I am the ever benevolent, all kind, all seeing, all nude, all live, all girls, all wait, nope, that's a different one. That's from a billboard in Vegas. I didn't know what it meant then. I don't know what it means now. It's like some crazy runic alphabet. Goodness. Anyway. I'm made out of innocence, and I'll thank you for not wrecking it. You wreck my innocence, I will wreck your attitude. Anyway. That's right. Rectitude is a word. We can use it in sentences. Anyway. Oh my god. I gotta bake more sand. Ugh. This is getting tedious. This is some tedious business. Hey, you've tuned in to All Tedium All the Time Minecraft channel, where the tedium is on us. Hey, you thought the tedium wouldn't be tedious enough? Hey, have you ever tried tedium? Have you ever tried making it like not that great, and then taking a step back and thinking like, hey, how can we make this worse? Well, it's already not that great, but like, I've got my eyeball on worse. Because that's a state of affairs that I can get behind. Worse. I mean, who doesn't love it when things, they start out as bad? You know what I'm saying? And then, for no reason, he starts talking about something else. Look, I am on board with, like, furnishing vast amounts of jobby flesh to get, like, small amounts of leather. Like, I'm totally, make us do 6, freaking 8, jobby flesh to 1 leather. Like, that would totally, like, whatever is fine. Do you have any idea how much leather I'd have right now if that were true? If that were true, my voice has gone all wee walkety. So don't freaking listen to it. Hey, what are you doing? You listen to my voice? Those are my voice. Ugh. I told you no. I told you no. Okay. I told you no. No, no, no. I told you no. A witch? How dare a witch giggle behind this wall? That's my business, you evil woman. Oh, yeah, that's right. My experience gained knows. Anyway, you know, one of the great sad things about this generation is that, like, the generation of young people who, like, I mean, first of all, if they've figured one thing out, they've figured out how to, like, get to the root of things, like, to get down to business. They don't waste time. You know what I'm saying? They don't waste time, like, watching entire series of shows that their, like, parents and or teachers know, just so they can relate to these people. You know what I'm saying? Because those shows are way too old and way too long and way too ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have time to figure out who Potsy is, you know, or what sit on it means, because they're just going to assume that sit on it means something way worse than what Arthur Fonzarelli, that's Fonzie's full name. Anyway, I wonder what Chachi's full name is. 'Cause anyway, I know Joni loves him. Regardless, here's how this works: is that kids these days, they just get little vine length snippets of everything that has existed before them, and they only know things out of context. It's weird how often you can be, oh my god. I've never had one of them's come through. Little chicken jockey. Is that what they're called? Chicken jockey? If not, that's 100% what it should be. Anyway, so yeah, it's weird how often you'll be singing a song from the way back when times, and students will be like, "Oh, I know that crap," and they could sing along with it too, and you're like, "Holy Moses, they can!" And then you're like, "How you know that song?" And they're like, "Well, there's this thing on the internet where SpongeBob is riding Donkey from Shrek, and they're both grinning with Nicolas Cage's face." And yeah, and that song plays in the background while they all do the Russian cow dance, and you're like, "What? Those aren't even words." First of all, what you said doesn't even count as words anymore. And second of all, what the frick? How is that any way to know a Stone Temple Pilots song? You know what I'm saying? Look, we all know that I am smelling like a rose that somebody gave me on my birthday deathbed. We all know that crap. But where do we know it from? We know it from listening to the full album in its entirety while we were driving around in vehicles in the 1990s and 2000s. Also, we may have, listened to it on Walkmans or in our rooms because we used to just listen to music with no other things happening. Just the music, man. I feel like that's why I've had a harder time assimilating music now than ever before, is because we've all given ourselves ADD. Rarely do I just listen to music. I'll listen to music and play Minecraft and build a giant underwater sea base. I'll listen to music and read a book. All of my book reading, I'm also listening music at the same time, constantly. So it's harder for me to really assimilate the music that I listen to like I used to. You know what I'm saying? And movies and stuff and TV shows. There's a whole thing where our generation is like, "Hey, dingus, sit down on the couch and watch this with me." And the kids be like, "I have ADD, ADHD. I can't freaking sit in one place for 3 to 4 minutes." And you're like, "No, it's 97 minutes." And they're like, "Dude, you didn't raise me with the capacity for that. I can't even imagine what that would be like to sit still for that long and just do one thing." Holy crap. Anyway. So, yeah. And meanwhile, my generation is like, "You aren't sitting still and watching the thing that I want to show you and share with you. Why don't you love me?" And there is the generational divide. We're it's time for you to understand why the Princess Bride is such an important thing. And the kids be like, "Marriage?" And you're like, "Yes, that comes from it." And they're like, "Yeah, that dude. Seen him. He rides the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon." And then they sing a song about freaking remember to wash your balls, but it's about golf balls, but it's full of innuendo and makes it seem like it's actually about human anatomy. That. And you're like, "That's not even, you son of a, you're ruining everything." But like when you look at it from their point of view, it's like, okay, but like you have lived through like 30 to 40 years of quality content that like you had time to assimilate. And like my whole generation's over here with anxiety and depression. First of all, thank you for that you raised us with screens and that they give us anxiety and depression. And oh, did you let us on Facebook and Instagram? Yeah, we saw that crap about how Facebook and Instagram just make us feel worse about ourselves every freaking day. And then you just are like, yeah, but it should raise you because, I ain't got money for no babysitter because we live in America. And Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema don't want to pass, friggin' normal legislation that would make everybody's life just a little bit better. They don't want to do that. They don't even want to do that. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I'm coming at you. Coming at you, friggin' Cinema. I see you. That's right. I see you. I know what ICU stands for. It stands for Intensive Clown Posse. Anyway, regardless. Okay. Here's the thing is that like sometimes you got to realize that people are different than you and like you got to give everybody some leeway for being who they are. Within reason. I mean, if it's not hurting anybody, then like what the frick? You know what I'm saying? And like, okay, I don't freaking get the juggalos at all. Like, don't get it even slightly. It seems, and I'm just gonna tell you what I think, and you could tell me whether or not I'm wrong. But it seems like it's sort of a glorification of white trash. Like, I don't know if that's what it is. It's what it seems like, but like, I don't care. I'm white. I've got trash in my, extended family. It's not like I don't know what that part's about. But like, freaking, I'm just from the one where we were like, let's go to college. Anyway, so yeah, like I get that part of it, but like I don't understand your whole vibe. Like I don't get it. But then again, like last year I just decided like, okay, we're finally going to allow ourselves to listen to Fish cuz we've listened to literally all our other music, and I started listening to Fish and became huge Fish fan overnight. And then I got to get this guy. And then started like really just enjoying that and having a great time with it, and just in ways that I had never enjoyed a band's live output before. I mean, except for of course my beloved Weezer, whose live output is very similar to the album in most respects, and yet I still am like, yes, I will listen to your live tracks. Yes, I will buy The Lion and the Witch, because why wouldn't I? Like, freak, I'll buy two of them, and I will have the lower numbered one still sealed, and the higher numbered one will be unwrapped, and I will still have both of those in my possession. The one I ripped to iTunes and then never actually listened to the CD itself because I don't want to scuff it. And, reasons. I do what I do. Don't ask questions. Anyway. But, like, yeah, people don't understand Fish fandom. They don't understand Weezer fandom. And so, like, I do belong to some things where people just, for the most part, are like, what is this? Are you guys serious? You seem like you can't possibly be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am a part of a fan of some of those. Oh, Atari 8-bit computing. Like, for real. Huge Atari 8-bit computing guy. Like the 800 XL, that's my baby. That's what I was raised on. I have one. I'm pointing to it right now. It is no more than 10 feet away from me right now. It's got the heaviest Kerchonk keyboard of all time. Anyway, and maybe that's just this one. It's hard to remember if that was if it was that Kerchonky as a kid. I do remember a certain amount of Kerchonk. Anyway, but like, yeah, everybody's like, by the time we get to that generation of computing, most people were like, yeah, Commodore products. And like, I didn't even let myself touch. I have never booted a Commodore. I have been in the same room as a Commodore on many occasions because I know a lot of freaking nerds. That's neither here nor there. But what is definitely true is that, like, I will not allow myself to actually touch Commodore equipment with my bare hands because, like, it feels like a betrayal. Like, I'm not going to betray my brand loyalty and my cultness, the cult that I belong to, being Atari. Like, it really is a whole thing. And like, people who are like, but Commodore, like, had more memory and better graphics. And it's like, you shut up. You shut your mouth. Like, I know you're right, but I don't want to freaking hear it. I don't want to hear it from you or anybody. This is not what we came here for. You know, very reasonable, rational people. Anyway, so Juggalos? No, gigolos are a different thing. By the way, I've seldom been bothered by anything as much or as often as I have been bothered by Deuce Bigalow Gigolo. Oh, I know that the name of the movie, the actual official title, is Deuce Bigalow Male Gigolo. But, like, first of all, you cannot be a female gigolo. Therefore, the title is redundant. And it's ridiculous, and I wish that it did not exist. It's wildly grammatically incorrect, and I don't need that kind of stress in my life. Like, just do me a favor and don't stress me the frick out, because I'm just here trying to enjoy myself, and you're coming at me with friggin' redundancies that make no sense. You know? It would be like saying, Joyce Bigelow, female mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, all mothers are female. Is the qualifying factor of motherness. Is like, step 1, be female. Step 2, have actually created them children's. Therefore equals sign mother. Or I mean, I know adopted and whatnot. You can adopt, you can foster, you can step, etc. But guess what? In each of those cases, what must you be? Female. That's right. So it would be like, yeah, and then the evil female stepmother in the story. It's like, the what now? The evil female stepmother? Is that what we're saying now? Because that's ridiculous. All stepmothers are female. And I will thank you to not friggin' talk so much, because you sound like a moron. Yeah. That's how we would handle that business. And yet we let a movie called Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, we let that be made, as if we didn't have enough problems in our lives. We let that, a piece of cinematic wonder be put together. Yeah, we sure did, because it felt like we had to at the time. We're like, hey, If we don't do this, the terrorists win. The terrorists win if we don't make movies like this. Think terrorists like these kind of movies? Well, look, this is one thing that terrorists and us can agree upon. And if we're ever going to win the war on terror, I think at some point, the terrorists and us need to start going to the movies together. I mean, look, we're going to see Sex and the City 17. We're going to see Deuce Bigelow, XXYY Gigolo. Actually, that would be an accurate usage, because at that point, it's like, well, how do you identify? You intersex person, you. Like, what are your pronouns? What do you prefer? Anyway. So, yeah, like, freaking Deuce Bigelow, who, if he is a gigolo at all, must, by definition, be a male one, because there is no other kind to be. Oh, jeez, Melise. I swear sometimes. Oh, there's my rock hod. Anyway. Also, like, I hate to tell you, America. I'm telling you this for your own good. The Mamma Mia movies, we keep making them. They don't look good. Like, I've seen parts. I've seen parts of the first one. Like, I've been in the room while it was on, and it looked god-awful. And it made me lose all respect for Pierce Brosnan, which I didn't have that much of, because he's my least favorite James Bond. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Pierce Brosnan. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, like, what? Even more than Lazenby? And I'm like, freaking Lazenby, his wife dies at the end, and, like, he's heartbroken. He gives us a moment of, like, actual humanity towards a woman in a Bond film that no other freaking Bond gives us. So, like, yes, Lazenby, you think Pierce Brosnan does stuff like that? No, he just has Halle Berry kick him in the side of the head for, like, 97 minutes, and then is like, but the movie is about James Bond, and you're like, I don't know that it is, Pierce Brosnan. You didn't carry this one. Therefore, like, how am I supposed to feel like it's a movie about you playing James Bond? You're not helping your case, you idiot. Yeah, that's right. That's what I say to Pierce Brosnan. And then he goes on the Mama Type Mia's. And he's like, hey, everybody, I can sing. And I'm like, yeah, you can, about as good as Hugh Jackman. And he's like, oh, about as good as Hugh Jackman? Thanks. And I'm like, that wasn't a freaking compliment. Have you heard Hugh Jackman? And he's like, yeah, it sounds great. And I'm like, oh, so you're like tone deaf and taste deaf. Okay, I got it. Now I understand why you weren't as good as Timothy Dalton. Yeah, that's right. It's going to be Halloween in a couple of days, and I've got to get my feelings out about which James Bond is the best one. Obviously, it's Connery. I mean, shut up if you don't think it's Connery. And, Daniel Craig has gotten a raw deal by a lot of people. Like, a lot of people don't want to take him seriously. But the man, like, he does an excellent Bond. And, like, if you don't think so, then you don't know what the crap you're talking about. He does a great Bond. Like, ugh. So stop being so terrible and stupid about it. Like, okay. Alright, this is where we're going to find out some things about ourselves. I don't know how this is going to go, because I've never, like, drained one of these. The same way that friggin' Donald Trump never drained a swamp. Yeah, this, topical from a couple years ago. Haha. Take that, Anyway. Okay. I'm just gonna do these. Okay. Okay, hurry and drop, stupid. I don't want to run out of air before... Okay. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing, and there's probably much more efficient ways of doing this, but, like, why would I do it efficiently? That doesn't make any sense. Inefficient is the way to go. I mean, come on, guys. Wait, hold up. It's an email from a female. Girl pressing on me like a lee nail. Oh, I've got a bouquet. Bouquet residence, lady of the house speaking. Okay, is this going to make any difference? I don't know. If I take a bucket of water out of there and put it into here, just be like, have this bucket of water. Oh, it won't even bucket. Here, I'm gonna put it right there. There we go. I bucketed some water. Did it affect levels at all? Do I have fishy spawns on the inside? I better not. Anyway, I legitimately have no idea what I'm doing here. But before too long, I will end this episode. I want to try and at least drain that business. Like how Michael Jackson never drained that swamp called Neverland. Yeah, that's right. Coming in hot and topical. This might as well be a mall store full of goths. It's hot topic up in here. Anyway, you all got that, right? Hot Topic, that store in the mall where you go to buy your personality. Hey-oh, he's coming in hot. Hotter than Hot Topic. But not hotter than a girl with daddy issues coming out of Hot Topic. Rower. What the freak does that mean? I mean, I know exactly what it means, but that is not the sort of thing that I have ever been into. Like... Okay, and get on the other side. There you go. Boop. Beep, boop, 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 beep. Boop, boop, doop, boop, 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 boop. Oh, that's right. When it runs out of little bubbles, that means you're dying actively. Like, that you're deading yourself. Some people say books are for to be making you smart, but I say books are for to be making you dead. What? I felt like I had more time. I mean, I should have watched the gauge, but I was just trying to feel that one out. I was just trying to, don't force it, feel it. OWEP systems. Oh my God, if anyone gets that reference to a game, from the early 2000s, I will be so impressed. Ain't nobody gonna get that reference. Because, like, I heard it all the time because I was playing that game, not the actual game itself, but off a demo disc. Demo disc! You remember demo discs? Holy crap, like, demo discs used to be a whole thing. And now people actually collect them, you know, like, the LGR. He's like, yeah, demo discs. Like, if you send me a box full of demo discs, I'll be like, thank you, my brosif. That's how he talks. Okay. So. Wait. Dingus. Let's try that again. Oh, that's right, because Wait, hold. Okay, this is going to be our worst idea yet. Okay. Wait, if I get the right buckitude, if I get the right bucket angle on that, I should be able to unbucket that, shouldn't I? I mean, it seems like it would work. Why wouldn't it not work? Am I not speaking English again? Parlez-vous, why wouldn't it? Anyway, hey. Give me bucket. Oh, I didn't even think Charlie felt that. And he is a bucket. Charlie Bucket. Cheer up, Charlie. Someday you'll be abused by a weird candy magnate. Cheer up, Charlie. Your grandparents are the laziest people I've ever heard of. Holy frig. I thought I was going to hit the water and not just, you know, dainty dinklage myself on the friggin' side of my ankle on the bottom step. That's what they call it when that particular move. It's named after Peter Dinklage's sister, who's quite dainty. I would never call Dink the man himself. I'd never call him dainty. I mean, he's rather small, but he's not dainty. And boy, does he cut a handsome figure for a human. I'm playing a character, but this character is also a terrible person. And I'm like, are people going to be able to delineate between me and the terrible person that I'm pretending to be? And it's like, well, why would you pretend to be a terrible person? I think maybe you're a terrible person, and that's where the inspiration comes from. And it's like, you know, you might not be wrong. You mightn't. You mightn't be wrong, is what I'm telling you. You might be right. You mightn't be wrong. Oh, get the frig out. Yeah, watch the gouage. Just kidding, it's spelled gouge. It has a U in it, so it makes you think that it could be spelled gouage, but it's not. Trust, it's not. I've had my problems with that word. That word and I have not always seen eye to eye. Especially because it doesn't possess eyeballs. It's a word. Words don't have eyeballs. You should have known this by now. You are an adult, and although you are an adult who goes to Insane Clown Posse concerts, you are nonetheless an adult. So we're going to go ahead and assume that your opinions count. You know, like a regular person who could have an opinion that would matter and that we would give a crap about, you know, like that. So that's a thing. Just kidding. Did I ever finish my point about the Insane Clown Posse? Okay, I don't know if they know how magnets work, but what I do know is that those are some people who among themselves are like, we have the best time. You listen to them talk about the Gathering of Juggalos, and I've listened to people who've like performed at the Gathering of Juggalos, people that you wouldn't suspect, people that you wouldn't expect, people that you would think, like, would that be their scene? Would they do that? And yeah, they would. They did, and said they had a great time. You know, because like the thing about the Gathering of Juggalos is that like they know who they are, and they know what they're there for, and they know what they're doing about it. So like, it's all good. You know, they're not like not in on the concept. They are in on the concept. If anybody has ever been in on the concept, it's them. Like they are the most at getting it out of all of the world. Anyway, oh, this feels smaller than I thought it was going to be. Okay, when I bust through this, does it go less? Because I would like to feel like this is just going to get lower and lower. But I don't think it will. I think I'm going to have to do absolutely every row. Cheer up, Charlie.
Cheer up, Charlie. Come with us. Come with us to the enchanted forest.
Oh, there it almost is. Almost. Maybe it is a little bit lower. That seems like maybe it could be. See, right there? Huh. Interesting. But, you know, sometimes I look at people like juggalos and I say to myself, like, hey, am I too cynical to, like, really enjoy myself? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I too much into myself and my own self-concept that I'm not willing to just, like, let go and have a good time sometimes? Because that's the thing about juggalos, is that, like, they seem like they're having a sweet time all the time. And, like, they might be right. And them friggin' Jimmy Buffett fans, intolerable people. Like, they just seem like the worst. I can't imagine a world in which they're not the worst. You know what I'm saying? And yet, like, they just seem delighted all the time, especially when they're seeing their guy, you know, or their guys, if we're talking about juggalos. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just, they have the strong identity, and, like, it's either you get it or you don't, and if you do, then you're, like, delighted. It was like people who are like, oh my god, it's Trey Anastasio, you know, and you're seeing him in some, like, obscure side project of his where he's, like, in a band that nobody knows about with like one of Steve Martin's banjo pickers or something. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole thing. Okay. Let's get back, Jojo. I'm actually going for multiples here. I guess I could have just skipped one. I guess I can skip a lot of them if I, do it right. Well, no, that wouldn't work because obviously it's the same thing. Anyway, regardless. We gotta do what we gotta do. Okay. I see what you're doing here. I see what's happening here. Yeah, it's going to be sweet to have an underwater lair. I've never done an underwater lair in Minecraft. And I'm just trying... Oh, jeez. Yeah, you're not going to get me. Oh ho! Heart immediately goes back. What? Okay. Wait, I thought... Okay, there we go. There we go. That's the ticket. Okay. So we're going to go this way. Yeah, have you ever wondered that about fandoms that are like very devoted but seem just like, why? Why is this the thing that you're super duper into? Have you ever wondered like whether or not those people are just inherently happier than you? Like if they've figured out life a little better than you have, and like maybe if you weren't so attached to ideas that bring you absolutely no happiness, that maybe you could be as happy as they are if you just learn to let go a little bit. Like, yeah, I guarantee you there's something out there in the world that like you would be the happiest version of yourself that there could ever possibly be, but like you haven't been into that thing because of like preconceived notions that you have about the fandom for that thing. Guaranteed. Like you might be the happiest you've ever been as a brony. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not even joking. You literally might have been. Like, I might have been, for frick's sake. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it might be true. It might be true. And there's no way to know other than, like, trial and error. Let's find out. Let's, like, you're as a brony, you're as a juggalo, you're as a fish fan, you're as, like, yeah, all the things. Those guys who follow around the McRib, like, whatever it is, you're just gonna, be one of those just for a year. Just find out just find out so much about yourself. You're going to be like, huh, that, I didn't know that would be so much of my life. Like, that's what you're going to be. That's exactly how the next, 12 months are going to be in your life. Oh, goodness. You're going to be amazed at how much, how much Trey Anastasio means to you now. You're going to be like, oh my God, he is everything. It's true. Like, of course he's the only one who could replace Jerry Garcia. I mean, God, we all know this. I feel like the world knows it, but they don't want to say it out loud because it feels like blasphemy. Come on, world. Just acquaint yourselves with some facts about yourself. Come on. All right, here we go. Other way. Feels like I'm going to be at this part of it for a while. Man. But I am getting better at it. It is very tedious and time consuming, and I feel like I should have filled this in with sand as I was building it, and that would have been, much less trouble for me now. But hey, what do you know? You think you're so smart, you build an underwater lair. You do it. You think you're so great? Think it's just easy? Like a guy could just do it. Anyway, you've insulted my honor, and one of us must commit seppuku before the day is out. What? What the frick? What did that even mean? Did you see that? I wasn't hitting Q. I was placing those blocks. What? And it just floated away. What the frick? Oh, I get it. Okay, I was like, why are they not working? It was so stupid. But so obvious. Anyway. Obviously, you've got to take care of the grass. Oh, jeez. I didn't actually get it. That's dumber than I can imagine. And I can imagine pretty dumb. I teach freshmen. Oh. I'm sorry, because there are freshmen of mine who might hear this, but they're drama freshmen, and drama freshmen are always, by definition, better. You're a better variety of freshmen, and everyone knows it. Everyone. Because any freshman that would be cool enough to take drama is, the best. First of all, they're probably super, supportive of people who are different than they are and are really chill about it and don't call people names for how they identify in any way, shape, or form, because they, as freshmen who signed up for drama, probably have an identity that's a little bit outside the norm, not necessarily in terms of sexuality, but in terms of what other people will friggin' tolerate, you know what I'm saying? Freshmen, drama students, their personalities are not necessarily something that other people get and something that other people accept and are like, yeah, that's fine. Be like that. You know, like, people often do not get it and are not accepting in the slightest. And that's just the way that goes sometimes, you know? Oh, shoot. There we go. Made it. Anyway. Okay, I want to try one more and just to see if I can. Because, like, oh, some of the bench. Oh, hit it before the tick went off. You saw that. Anyway, after I finish this next row, I'm going to seal them off, dig up the dirt, and then once we dig up the dirt and see what we got, that's where I am going to call this episode, and like, we're going to get to work on other things because I have ideas for weekend type fun tonight. So anyway, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. Yeah, I swear sometimes, like, you try to... Oh, hello. Totally Accurate Battle Simulator is now on sale. Thanks to notification in my phone. I don't have tabs, but my kids really, really want it, but their computers are just not quite spec'd to do it, to play it, so, like... Wait, frick. Ooh, is that going to go all the way down or just part of the way? Do I still have to do these? Okay. Sweet. Now that the sun is up, because the moon has gone down and the sun has come up, and long ago somebody left with a cup, but he's striving and striving and hugging the turns and thinking of someone for whom he still burns, because he's going the distance. He's going for speed. She's all alone in her time of need, because he's racing, he's pacing, he's plotting a course, he's riding and fighting and riding on his horse. He's going the distance. Wait. Oh, Chubble. Yes, that's what I was going to do. I was like, I got so lost in the lyrics of that excellent, excellent song from my high school years. Like, hey, what y'all have, y'all who are in high school right now? Like, what y'all have that in the future will be remembered as fondly as, The Distance by Cake, which Cake, first of all, let's agree, better band than they ever got credit for being. Like, so, what the freak, man? Oh, you're from over here? What does that even mean, you stupid? Wait, where is there a bat? How could that be a thing that's possible in a world one man, one... Oh, a dolphin. Okay, I just heard the squeaky squeaks. And so many other things were happening in the sound dialogue box. And I was like, that sounded like a bat. No, I forgot dolphins. Forgot dolphins exist. Because, as we have established, I am an old man. That's right. I'm an old man. Such a very old man. And while I'm not Gary, I am, in fact. See, that's fun. You just have an octopus just hanging out outside your underwater lair. Hey, Broheim. Look at your sad eyes. You got 8 legs, you better recognize. Anyway, sorry, I'm just singing a song to a Minecraft squidman. Just kidding. Actually, I don't know. I know that it says squid. Okay. All of a sudden, I was filled with doubt. I was like, is it a squid or an octopus? And then I realized that it's over there playing a clarinet and being like, SpongeBob, that's not the way you do that, or whatever the frick I've never seen. Like, I've seen 2 SpongeBob cartoons in my entire life. Because, like, you know, I should have, like, that was an opportunity where I should have done that thing that I would later totally do as a smooth move, where, like, so I was in college, and there were these, 2, gorgeous young ladies who, like, my roommate and I, we go over and see them. There's 2 of us, 2 of them. He's, interested in the one. I'm looking at the other and being like, well, you're a pie made of cuteness. It's cutie pie. Anyway, and they like, we had just dropped in on them unannounced. Like, we're just dropping by to say hi. We're like, just, hey, what's up? Saw your light was on. Happened to be in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and so, like, at one point they put on SpongeBob, and they're like, do you guys like SpongeBob? And, like, my roommate was like, no. And I was like, I've never seen it. But because he was like, no, it sounded like, I was just being honest. I was like, I have never seen it. I don't know anything about this show. Like, it hasn't caught my fancy as of late, because, like, it hasn't, I'm in college. I'm watching Letterman every night. Anyway. I did that. That was my thing. So, for the first time, I'm like, I'm watching adult shows, because I was raised in a super religious household where I didn't even have TV. We owned a TV that would be hooked up once every 4 years for the Olympics. Like, we didn't even have it hooked up to terrestrial antenna type television. Except for once every 4 years, we would watch the Olympics. Well, I guess once every 2, because we watched both. But, like, this is how I also learned to hate NBC with their cavalcade of bull crap. Because, like, NBC is like, sweet, we got the Olympic coverage. Which games is it? Summer, sweet. We are only going to show gymnastics. We're going to show the compulsories. We're going to show the rhythmics. We're going to show the single entries. We're going to show the team ones. We're going to show the men's and the women's. We're going to show all the things. And yeah, like that. And meanwhile, you're like, people are playing water polo and lacrosse and freaking, like, that crazy volleyball that you play with your feet, and, like, badminton, but not like, backyard freaking badminton. We're talking like angry yelling, very serious badminton players who like know how to put some heat on the freaking birdie, which is not even a thing that you knew that they could do. And then meanwhile, NBC be like, and we cut away to our 9th hour of coverage of the same freaking anorexic 14-year-olds bending in gross ways. I know that that there are people who are going to be like, how dare you? Because I saw Carrie Strug and I will not have you. Oh my God. Anyway, so here's the thing is that I have 5 sisters. And so they would they would watch all of the gymnastics in the summer and all of the ice skating, which once again is like, we're going to do figure skating and figure dancing, and we're going to do the men's singular and the women's singular and the mixed doubles, and then we're going to have 2 men skate together, and we're all going to pretend it's not gay, but it's the gayest thing you've ever seen. Just kidding. That's not a thing, but I would pay to see that. Just let the skaters skate with the with the gender that they are sexually attracted to. We'd find out some things like, what, a heterosexual, that would really throw us for a loop. There would be one heterosexual in the competition. We'd be like, what? He's straight? That doesn't sound like what I signed up to watch. Meanwhile, half the people watching this, watching like Adam Rippon be like the most fantastically gay man ever created on God's green earth. Like just like the poster child for all that is good in homosexuality, except for the part where he's a figure skater. But also, it's not surprising he's a figure skater because of the type of extremely gay man that he is. Because like there's the type of extremely gay man who is like, I'm a daddy bear, I'm a long haul trucker, like I just got twinks in every town or whatever. Like, I don't know how people talk when they're a daddy bear, because I'm not one. I mean, I look like one. Like, let's not act like that's not true. But like, God, this is going to be the one that Luna listens to and is like, what the hell were you talking about in the last little bit of your episode? For like no reason, you're just going to all of a sudden be like, well, I don't know how daddy bears talk, but here's my best guess. Oh my God. But like, by definition, if you're a daddy bear, you have to be into twinks. Like, you can't be a daddy bear who's into other bears. That's not like, not that that's not a thing. It just doesn't make you a daddy bear, because you gotta be. Anyway, regardless, I don't need to explain gay to you. It's a very simple thing. Just look at 2 hot dogs in the same package and you'll pretty much get it. Like, if one of the hot dogs is a little more plump and a little bit hairy, yes, I said it, hairy hot dog. Anyway, and the other one is a little thinner and was made a little more recently, and is it has some like effeminateness to it, a certain amount of like this a man though, right? You know, anyway. And anyway, so look at them 2 hot dogs in the same package, and you'll be like, oh, homosexuality. Got it. Oh, it makes so much sense now. Oh, it makes so much sense. I want to be that now. Oh my God. The number of times that I've heard people be like, well, I think that a lot of kids who identify as LGBTQ are just doing it for the attention, which, like, here's the thing about that. Even if they were, it used to not be the kind of thing where you get the good kind of attention. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about they would get the attention that would get you, like, not being able to eat lunch because you never have your lunch money kind of attention. That kind of attention. Okay, here we go. Yesk. The Yescapades. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, oh yeah, I was talking about SpongeBob and these 2 girls. Okay, let me finish that story, but first, Adam Rippon and his fantastic gayness. Like, just has such a command of the art form. You know what I'm saying? But like, kids who may or may not be pretending to be something. I mean, yes, you could tell everyone you know that, like, hey, I'm gender fluid or non-binary, and like, you wouldn't ever really have to change your behavior that much, other than, having other people possibly call you by a different name, or people using they them pronouns. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you were to fake any part of this, because, like, most people would not be able to fake homosexuality, especially straight men. Like, straight men are so gay averse, it's stupid. Like, they worry that people will think they're gay in the, like, straightest of circumstances. They'll just be like, oh, I don't want anyone to think I'm gay. It's like, nobody thinks you're gay, idiot. Like, you're just standing there holding your wife's purse. Yeah, your wife, because she's a woman that you married, and more than likely you two have engaged in coitus, in some form of copulation. And in doing so, you have proven beyond any reasonable doubt that you are not a homosexual. So holding the purse of the female type person with whom you have enjoyed coitus, that ain't gay. What would make it gay is if it was, like, not even if it was yours, but if it was your male partner's and it was full of things that you were going to use on each other later tonight. You know what I'm saying? Only under that circumstance would it be remotely gay. But he would need to be actively licking the side of your face in public, in front of everyone in that Dillard's, for it to be legitimately gay. Yeah, you're in a Dillard's when this happens, by the way. Like, obviously, duh. It's... Ooh, I got something. Didn't I see you crying? Anyway, so when you're licking the side of the face of your gay freak partner inside of Dillard's at 2 in the afternoon, and you're like, this bag is full of fluffy handcuffs and, oils and creams and other things you don't want to know about. And we are going to go and do secret sexy things to each other all afternoon. Because it's not even nighttime yet, because as aforementioned, we're doing this at 2 in the afternoon. Yeah, that's right. I'm licking up the side of his face. I'm like sticking the pointed tip of my tongue into his ear hole, and he like shivers and is like, stop, save some for later. And like, yeah, then it might be gay. Like, but holding the purse of the woman whose nude body you have seen on multiple occasions and against which you have, pressed your nude body in an act of sexual and consensual pleasure, yeah, that's not gay. It's not. Just friggin' hold her purse. Go, you know what? Like, go buy her a box of tampons, because it means that, like, not only are you with a lady, you're with a lady under the age of, like, I don't know, 55, 65. I don't know when that happens. But, like, you're with a reasonably, like, one can assume a reasonably young lady. Like, how could that be less gay? Because if you're with an older lady, then there's the possibility that older lady is none other than Broadway star and star of Cabaret, the woman whose name I'm blanking on and hoping that I can think of as I keep giving myself hints. She's got short dark hair. Come on. Hey Siri, who starred in the hit Broadway musical Cabaret? We're gonna find out. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Characters. This is great. Just, sitting here. Look, she played Lucille 2 on freaking Arrested Development. The sad thing is I could probably find her easier that way, because there are multiple productions of Cabaret. Liza Minnelli, holy frick. Now is that joke funny? God damn it. Okay. Maybe if you are holding the purse of an older lady, and the older lady whose purse you are holding is none other than Broadway sensation Liza Minnelli. Yeah, holding Liza Minnelli's purse, even if you are in a consensual sexual relationship with her, is still super gay. Like, we all know it. We've seen her husbands, and we've seen her husband's husbands. Anyway, regardless. I'm just gonna put myself down here so that next time when I start playing, I'm like, oh, I'm doing this disaster piece. Anyway, so ladies, gentlemen, children of a very select age group, hey now, did you see what happened with Smash Mouth? My God, Nazi salutes and like claiming you're going to murder your fans' entire family. What a way to put on a show, Smash Mouth. I bet you're the sort of band that would play unmasked at freaking in the middle of the pandemic at that the one in like South Dakota, the like Harley Davidson festival. You know the one. I can't think of it. I can't think of what that stupid Harley Davidson festival is called. Anyway, so you go to the Harley Davidson festival with Liza Minnelli and her husband and her husband's husband, and all of you are wearing leather chaps. Which one is gayest? Like, if also, by the way, how dare people say assless chaps? How dare they? Oh, wandering traitor, I gotta go murder him. What? I need leather. Hey, where are you? Where are you, buddy? Bro. 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 Where are you? Bro. Oh, you're off in the freaking middle of the water. What are you doing out there, stupid? I should be killing you over here. Oh, that's got leather. Did I get? I'll get. Okay. Okay. I got the leather. Okay. Just the lead, no leather? Yeah, I killed them. I killed them, wandering traitor. I would keep you around if either of the following things were true. Number one, if your trades were actually worth anything, and if killing your dingus Yamas weren't like the only guaranteed way of getting freaking leather while you're on a deserted island, then I wouldn't be killing you. You hear that, Mojang? You want to make a friendly mob that everyone doesn't immediately murder? There are things you can do. There are steps you can take if you don't want everyone to murder a specific friendly mob. Just make him even partially useful to us. This is like a one-step process. Step one, is he useful to us? Oh, he's actually better off dead than alive because you could actually get useful things from him? Oh, well, maybe we should fix that. Make it so you can trade with him for useful things, because he is a wandering traitor, and then maybe not murder him every time you see him. Because, like, think about how weird that is. That Mojang adds a character and everybody collectively is like, oh, so it doesn't get any better? Well, then I might as well murder him. Like, good job. Good job, Mojang. You did it. You did. No, you. You did it. No, you did it. Anyway. No, you, Mojang. You did it. All right, people. I doubt it's going to be a while before, or I bet it's going to be a while before another wandering trader comes along, and until then, there are axolotls. Axolotls somewhere. I don't know where they are, but they're around. Oh. Hey now. You're an all-star. Oh, two girls, before I close this out. So, SpongeBob, two girls, SpongeBob. Okay. If you're tuning in right now, first of all, that's not how the internet works. Second of all, how did you do that? Tuning in right now? What? Did this video just come up and you were asleep and now you're just waking up right now? I guess that's like the only way I can imagine that happening. Anyway, so if you're tuning in right now, oh God, I was talking about SpongeBob and the fact that I've only ever seen 2 episodes in my entire life, and so like, we're there to hit on these cute girls, right? That we like, that we're dropping in on, that we're like, hey, one for you, one for me. That works out all right, don't it, Tony? Anyway, that's how I talked with Tony. My roommate was not named Tony, and I did not talk like that. Anyway, also, it always seems creepy, even though that is accurate. Like, you wouldn't want there to be 3 girls because, like, you know, then someone's going to get left out. Like, if you have any choice in the matter, you know, 2 and 2 is the ideal ratio. Unless, of course, like, the 2 don't hit it off very well and then just turns into 2 and 1 and 1. And the N1 and 1 would rather not be around each other right now because it reminds them of how, like, awkward it is that they're not being able to make that happen in any way, shape, or form. And it's not that, like, the other person is bad or anything. It's just there isn't that spark, you know. It's got to click. Anyway, regardless, so 2 and 2 is the right number. You made it weird. Anyway, so little guy's gonna pop out of here any second now, but I can't reach him with my sword very well. I guess, you know, I could put a piston in and then flip it up and down, so depending on the height of who's in there, so I can sword them or not. I don't know. It could be done. I don't know how other people do their mob spawning nonsense. Like, this is as much as I know. Is like, you make them go down and then you stab them. Anyway, I wish they spawned more frequently, and that's that. Anyway, so yeah, these 2 girls, and I'll admit my roommate was more into the one, because he knew her before than I was into the other. Like, the other, like, she was pretty cool, and I knew her a little bit, and she was super cute, and so it was like, yeah, why not? But, like, I've always been more about the connection. Like, do you mesh well with the other person? Like, the very first time that I met the woman who is now my wife, like, we were simpatico very quickly. Like, we totally got each other's, like, sense of humor, and we got each other's, like, everything. Like, we just understood each other right off the bat. Like, just so quickly. We're like, you know, hitting it off super well, like you do with people that you mesh well with. Anyway, so yeah, this other girl and I, like, I ended up taking her on a date once. Like, I'm spoiling the story before it even gets off the ground. I'll tell you how that went later. I'll tell you how that went after. I mean, obviously, I'm describing the woman that I married, and this is not her. So, like, yeah, I mean, pretty easy to jump to conclusions there. But stop jumping and listen. I'm trying to tell a ham-fisted story. What if it was about ham radio? I could tell stories about ham radio. That's the thing I used to be into. KB7MLN. That was my call sign. Anyway, regardless. My dad's WB7DYK. Anyway. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, yep, There we go. That's the whole thing. So get to the point. I was just thinking about ham radio days all of a sudden. I reminded myself, and I was like thinking about like, oh, we used to own this sweet little Yaesu and whatnot, and like, you know, the like 2 different colors of green Heathkit. My dad actually had one of those. Well, I mean, a lot of Heathkit stuff was 2 different colors of green, but like the receiver portion of that Heathkit ham radio station that they use in Stranger Things, my dad had one of those, and I used it. And also, the way that Dustin in Stranger Things uses the ham radio, the FCC would be on your butt. Actually, if not the FCC, then all the other ham radio guys out there would be like, follow the freaking protocol, dude. Like, we have a manual. You should not have been able to get licensed without having passed the ARRL tests and whatnot, and have the FCC issue you a license. The Amateur Radio Relay League. Anyway, regardless. Ham radio. I definitely 100% grew up in a household with massive antennas attached to it. You know, a 35-foot dipole, thank you very much. With a motorized rotation. Yeah, that's right. That's right. One of my first CQDXs in my life as a novice was to Madeira Island, Africa. Like, I wouldn't freaking know what Madeira was. Like, I would have never heard of it, even to this day, as a freaking adult who has heard of more places in Africa than you have, to be certain. No. That's a good bet for most people. Because reasons, I don't need to go into it right now, into why those reasons are. I'm just, you know, I'm not the most well-versed in African geography, but I'm pretty darn well-versed in African geography. But yeah, would not know where Madeira was, were it not for this dude that I CQDX'd. And that was on the old Yaesu. Anyway, yeah. It makes me wish that, like, Yaesu made stereo components that were available in the United States. Because, man, Yaesu branded freaking receivers and stuff, I could only imagine. That sounds sweet. Anyway, so back to the girls. So yeah. So we go over there and we're like, we're going to hit it off with these girls. You know, it's going to be like, you know, they had 2 couches in their living room. It's going to be like us on one and then you guys on the other. Like, wait, no. Me and my roommate making out on one couch and them 2 making out on the other. Oh, goodness. No, I couldn't make out with him. He's a goober. Anyway, I only make out with guys who are not goobers. Like Adam Rippon. Just kidding. I mean, he's not a goober, but also I couldn't make out with him because I don't respect figure skating. I'm sorry, Adam Rippon. You're a perfect, beautiful man, but we can't make out because I don't respect figure skating as a sport. Anyway, regardless, these are just things that people need to know. I'm just putting this out there for the internet. For the internet needs to know. These are things that are very important. Anywhoozits. So yeah, these 2 girls, we just drop by, and at one point they're like, hey, we wanted to watch SpongeBob. Like, SpongeBob's coming on. You know, because they watched it every day on the Cartoon Network or the Nickelodeon, or it's probably Nickelodeon, I think. I only watched Letterman. I didn't. They had cable. We didn't. Anyway. So like, they put on SpongeBob, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys like SpongeBob?" And like, I think my friend like may not have cared at all, but he was trying to say no so that he could be like, "No, let's put tongues in each other's mouths instead." Which, like, hey, moron, like, having something on that can be like going on in the background, like, not a bad idea for how to kick this off. Like, don't be stupid, you know? Don't be an idiot. And anyway, like, I didn't even know if he cared about SpongeBob or not. I never heard him speak about it before or after this event. But yeah, like, so, the, how you say, okay, so yeah, he says, I don't like SpongeBob, and I'm like, I haven't ever really seen it, because I had never really watched it, and they're like, oh, we should watch it, it's totally hilarious, like, you guys would love it, because you guys are cool guys, you like cool things, you know, like, we want to show you cool things, and, my roommate was like, no, let's something else, and I was like, I don't know, like, whatever, you know, like, I didn't really, know what to say, and because he put up such a vitriolic no to SpongeBob, they were like, okay, you didn't have to do it like that, but okay, I guess you can feel about SpongeBob however you like. But yeah, because they were fans of SpongeBob, they were not predisposed to putting tongues in people's mouths that night. I mean, even though the one that I was being partnered with, you know, she was tall, skinny, blonde, you know, disgusting, the kind that you hate. Anyway, I like the last time I was on Facebook, which admittedly was like the 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. It feels like it's been a long time. Yeah, 5 years ago that I left Facebook, and I didn't even leave a message that was like, "Hey everybody, I'm quitting Facebook because meh meh meh," and like, I just was like, this sucks, and I don't want to do it anymore. And so that's how I left Facebook, was like, I just was honest with myself, and then made my life choices by myself, and then just moved on and didn't tell anybody. But they would have figured it out. And some of them had stopped, like, actually having any respect for me, you know, previous to that anyway, because, you know, reasons, falling outs over various, you know, beliefs and opinions. Life, it gets funny. Anyway, so, yeah, like, the tall blonde one, last time I saw her on Facebook, which would have been like, so she would have been like 30, between 35 and 37, somewhere in that range. And she still looked, you know, so much the same. And she'd had 3 kids, you know, and still, like, looked really great. Anyway, so, yeah, that's this one that I'm being partnered with. So, like, you know, not a bad choice of humans to be, you know, paired off with. You know what I'm saying? Like, just on attributes alone, like, because, you know, she, BT dubs, by the dubs, laughed at all my jokes, like thought I was freaking hilarious and like so fun to hang out with, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, the real chore to hang out with this girl. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Like, oh, how am I gonna hang out with a girl who's like, I'm a leggy blonde and I think you're hilarious and I like hanging out with you and maybe we could put tongues on each other's tongues. And yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this whole SpongeBob thing, that my guy was like, maybe not with the SpongeBob, even though like leggy blonde one was like, had previous to this given out vibes that like, you know, tonsil hockey may be in the future. You know, that for this night they were like, no, good sir. Come call upon me on the morrow, and perhaps you shall find my opinion changed. But tonight, no, there shall be no, no hanky nor no panky. Anyway, now hanky panky is something different. We were just talking about making out a little bit. Is making out hanky panky? Hanky panky is like way farther than that. By the time you've hanked and panked, like, you know, making out just make you look like someone slobbered on your face. But hanked and panked is you come out the bushes with like leaves in your hair and your clothes on backwards. You know what I'm saying? Do you get the difference? Anyway, so, I mean, this is early on. So we're just talking like, anyway, and also you have to remember that I was raised very religious, and this was a very religious college that we were at, by the way. It wasn't like a college that was run by any particular church, but like it didn't always used to be that way. We'll put it that way. Anyway, so yeah, still a lot of very religious people there, including these two girls that we were hanging out with, and including ourselves at this time. So like everybody's super religious, which means like, yeah, definitely there were kids who were getting it on, but it wasn't us. Like, like 100% the kids who were pretending to like be all good were not good, but we were actually good because we were complete dorks. And so like, yeah, we definitely were taking it seriously. Meanwhile, other people are like, we're not taking it seriously and we're having a good time. and we're over there like, but we're worried about going to hell. And the other ones are like, what are you kidding me? Anyway. Oh, religious upbringing. You're a silly goose, religious upbringing. Oh, man. I sure am glad I didn't give you to my kids. Because, you know, even though you're a silly goose and that's all fun and games, you also did some damage there, religious upbringing. Anyway, regardless. So, yeah. There were no makings out that night because my friend was like, we're not watching SpongeBob. we're here to make out, you know, which is how you get girls to make out with you, is you tell them like, I don't want to listen to your thoughts and feelings. Like, girls, you want to get someone to listen to your thoughts and feelings, like the guy early on in the relationship. That's when you're getting the most of that kind of attention. Like, make sure that he hears you during that time. That, you know, establish early on, be like, are you feeling me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? He will be the most, yes, I definitely am. And it will actually be true. It will be the most of that. that he will ever give you in your entire life is early on in that relationship. Anyway, yeah. Sorry about life. So yeah, blonde girl. Then like, here's the fun thing, is that like, we went to a college with a lot of religious people. That meant that like the dances were a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, the ability of boys to dance with girls, and so like going on formal dance dates in college, even though this is no longer high school, but still being like, we're having a formal, and everyone being like, I am getting a date to that because I would like to mash my face up against somebody else's face for a good long while and try and work out some of this freaking like ridiculous amounts of sexual tension I have built up because of this super religious upbringing that I told you that I had, that we are all having together, and that I want to have together with that girl right there with our mouths mashed together. Anyway, yeah, like that. So dances were super important. And they happened shortly after the SpongeBob incident. They had a girl-ass guy, like a Sadie type Hawkins, in my khaki pants. Oh. You know? If you don't know that song, what I just said seems like I had a stroke just then. Anyway. We pulled up to the house about 7 or 8, and I said to my date, well, thank you for a lovely evening. No. Anyway, so I got asked to the on the dance date with this girl. We've been flirting with each other for a little bit, and like she really a lot, and me being like, oh, I think I'm picking up on signals for the first time in my entire contemptible life. And she's like, I am giving big flag semaphore signals. You better be picking up on these. And I'm like, I think I am. And she's like, these flags are very large and my arms are getting tired from sending you these signals that you had goddamn well better be picking up. And I'm like, I think I am. Anyway, and so yeah, like we've been doing that back and forth, and anyway, like yeah, I did think she was super cute, but like I was always that guy who would like just crush on one girl super hard and like use my crush on that girl to abuse myself, and when I say abuse myself, I mean religiously. I mean like to be hard on myself about a girl that like is obviously not right for me, but like use the idea of her to like beat myself up and be like, see, you'll never have this because you're not worthy of God's love right now because this is what you're doing in your life, and like, you know, stuff that doesn't matter. Like, that's not a big deal, that the kids who don't take it too seriously, who are out just like, you know, doing things they don't even show in porno with each other, and like they're just getting it on in crazy freaky deaky, like we're Christian kids away at college together kind of ways, you know. They be doing that, and like we be doing like, do you want some punch and cookies, because we're over here trying to not go to hell, but also trying to work out these very frustrating feelings that we have toward each other that we definitely want to act on, but like not like that because of the aforementioned fear of hell. Ha 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 ha. and just weep for the gay kids in that situation because, like, holy crap, yeah, that'd really be something. Holy crap! How did this video get so long all of a sudden? I thought I was gonna keep it short, and it's going the distance. It's going for speed. She's all alone in a time of need. Because he's racing, pacing, plotting a course. Anyway, look, those lyrics are excellent. You owe it to yourself to listen to the Cake song, The Distance. This is a great rock song, and it's a hip-hop song at the same time. It's like, what? And it's not rap rock. It's like both, but neither. And it's like an amazing amalgam of goodness. And I love it. So if you don't love it, then we're not friends anymore, Gen Z. Looking at you, Gen Z. If you don't like all of my pop culture artifacts, we're not friends anymore. That's how it works. That's how my generation establishes whether or not we're friends, is whether or not we get each other's pop culture artifacts. Because we know for damn sure our parents' generation doesn't get it. Anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, this girl asks me out on a Girl Ask Guy dance date by giving my dorm room a heart attack, meaning she cut out like hundreds of paper hearts and wrote messages on them that are all asking me. But like, I read all the messages because I'm like, if it says something that's like, put your tongue in my ear before we get out of the driveway, something obvious like that, then it is on, and so like I looked up and down and all the notes were like way too timid. They were like, guess how I feel about you. I'm too shy to say, but this is in the shape of a heart. Oh God. Christian kids who are trying their best are so freaking adorable. Oh, they're trying so hard to not make God angry at them. And yet they're the ones who always believe that he is. Like, they're the best freaking kids, and yet they're like the most likely to be like, I am unworthy of love. Like, oh, you poor freaking kids, man. What do they do to you? Anyway, see, we're getting farther. We'll have a space. Look at the space I'm opening up. This is gonna be cool. We're gonna have an underwater lair. Anyway, so yeah, reasons and purposes. So, yeah, this girl asks me on this Girl Ask Guy dance, and like, and I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, I'm reasonably certain because of all that aforementioned semaphore that she be doing, giving me them big signals that are like, we should put our lips together at some point. That seems like an activity we would both enjoy, right? She giving me them signals, and and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. But like, there was this girl. Okay, this is so messed up. There was this girl that I had this massive crush on, and I always tended to be that guy who only had a crush on one girl at a time. And I would use that girl that I had a crush on to beat myself up and make myself feel terrible about the terrible person that I was, Yay. Religion doing it right, making kids feel appropriately. Anyway, so yeah, I did like use that other girl for the purposes of making myself feel unlovable. because like even though she did like me and like wanted it because she was, you know, the Christian version of a slut, in that she like kissed a lot of boys, like just kissed them. I mean, there were girls that we knew about who were like actual that you would actually call a slut because of the actual getting around. But I'm not into slut shaming. Like they were just enjoying a time in their life when they weren't tied down by any serious relationships, and they were young and they were attractive and they wanted to have a good time, and they had a good time. It's their own freaking business. Like I'm not now going back in the past to slut shame these people. I'm just saying that like they weren't supposed to. It was against every moral code that everybody abided by. But like, you know, and at the time I looked at it and was like, you guys are so sinful. You know, I can't believe like, you know, like how much God loves you and this is how you do him, you know, like that's how I felt at the time. And now I'm like, it's your own business. Like just be safe, but like have fun, whatever, you know. So yeah, I wish that that's how I felt back then, not because like then when people ask like, hey, what's your body count, then you'd have a number that doesn't make people feel bad for you. um you know what I'm saying? And then you have to be like, I was raised very religious, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry that your number makes you seem weird, you know. But that is how it do be though. Anyway, so yeah, that girl that I used to make myself feel bad about how God will never love me because of my sinful nature in like doing anything wrong, you know, like not churching it up hard enough when I'm at church. Like that was a serious thing that I would like beat myself up about, and I'd be like, I'm churching pretty hard and people see me churching pretty hard, but I'm not churching hard enough, like, you know. And then I'd be like, but also if I'm churching and I'm churching hard, but I'm worrying about people seeing me churching hard, am I churching wrong? Because like churching hard isn't about people seeing you church hard. You got to church hard to church hard. And if people see you churching hard and they're like, that guy churches hard, and it makes them want to church hard, then you're churching right. But if you're churching hard so that they'll be like, wow, he churches hard, and you're like, you're goddamn right, I run this church, you know, like, then you're churching wrong, and you're not churching right. You're not churching the way that Jesus would want us to church. Anyway, so I beat myself up about not churching right, and could never understand people who are like, I church it hard, because I'm always like actually churching it hard, but being like, I church it too soft. And I'm too soft on myself for how soft I church it, you know, which is super hard of churching, but nobody appreciates it. Everybody thinks you're a jerk. Anyway, because they're like, that can't be how he feels. He's got to be faking that. He's got to be faking that to seem like he's extra church. And you're like, I'm not though. Like, I'm actually this church. And they're like, you liar. Nobody's that church. And you're like, but I am. And then when you end up leaving it later on, it's like not surprising to other people who have left it, because they themselves were so church. They churched hard, and nobody churched harder than them. And you know, you and they were simpatico in the amount of churching that you did. And then when y'all left it later, then you were like, oh, it makes sense that we were the ones because, like, we actually took it seriously. If you don't take it seriously, then you're not going to ask the right questions that cause you to stop churching. That's true. That might be the truest thing that I've ever said in my life. Anyway, so, cute leggy blonde asked me on this date. The girl that I used to beat myself. Oh, pillagers. Pillagers in the water. I gotta go kill them. But, anyway, so, yeah, the girl asks me on this date, and I'm like, yeah, let's be on a date together, you and I. Like, that sounds great. Like, that sounds like what we ought to be doing here. And so, oh, my underwater base looks cool from over here. Anyway, so, yeah, I tell her how cool dates are. Like, you and me on a date. Doesn't that sound Banana Republic? And she's like, it does. Banana Republic. That's not a thing people say. Anyway, Banana Republic stock just went up when very famous YouTuber who doesn't give a crap about the quality of the content on his channel says Banana Republic. And people are like, that's a trend now. You know, trends that people do and that they know about. Anyway. Are you coming toward me? Because I've got bread. Yeah, you have crossbows, but I have bread. Doopy doopy doop 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 doop. You have crossbows, I have bread. Doop 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 doop. I'm gonna bust you in the head. Sound on kick butt. Oh, freak. Okay, we gotta get serious. Okay. God dang it. Holy Moses. I was worried that we weren't gonna get that. Did I get the ominous banner? Where is it? Where is it? I want that ominous banner. I killed him for it. Why you think I killed him? Ominous banner. Also, I think they're spawning on that island. I should build a bridge to there. Come on. Give me his ominous banner. It should float up to the... There we go. Crossbow and an ominous banner. Thank you. Thank you. I don't do this for free. Anyway. That's my real catchphrase that the kids are all going to be saying. It's not going to be... Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. That's the other one I said, right? No, I'm just kidding. It was the Hey Marge shot. Hang 'em up. That's right. She shouldn't own a Major League Baseball team anymore. Marge shot. The queen of mean. You know what I'm talking about? She should not own a baseball team anymore. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so the girl that I used to beat myself up, the reason that that was a thing was because, like, the previous summer, like, we had, like, right before summer started, right before semester ended, summer started, she and I started to get to know each other, and, like, yeah, and we're like, oh, hey you, I see you, you know, like that. And so and then summer starts and we're like, oh, that's got good life on it. Anyway, Oh, it's because my freaking sword died. Durr. It's because I've been killing so many jobbies. That's why I was so in so much trouble. That's why I almost died getting that fourth banner. I need to rearrange those, but I can't. I have no idea where. Obviously, I could put them along here. And I look kind of dumb because it's glass and you're messing up the glass aesthetic. Anyway, regardless. So, this girl, or the girl that I had been hanging out with, that I going into the summer we had been hitting it off. Anyway, she's real cute. She was like half Mexican, half Filipina. So imagine that mixture, and you're like, oh, biracial people often very adorable. And I am imagining those two races getting together, and what I've imagined is pretty freaking awesome. And I'm like, you are correct, sir. That is who I was crushing on. And she was putting out the vibe, but I was still in that mode of like, I'm a terrible person, and God doesn't love me because of what a horrible person I am. And that's not me being falsely humble. That's my actual opinion of myself based on, my inability to follow the often contradictory and wildly demanding rules of a religion that everyone else around me doesn't seem to take too seriously. But if you don't take it seriously, you're going to go to hell. Anyway, so I was very very much wrapped up in that. And this girl, she was more of the variety of not take it too seriously. I later found out, though she put on a good front of being the kind who takes it seriously, she was not. And so anyway, because I would find out later, the getting around that she did with people that I knew who also did that, and and I just brought her name up once, and he was like, "Oh, that's that girl that I was with," because there was a whole circuit where if you were that variety of person who just didn't take it very seriously, you people would get around, but only because they had essentially created a rental service of each other, like rent a person who doesn't take it that seriously, because they were all like, hey, we're all doing this for the first time ever and enjoying it, so let's definitely do that with as many as possible. Which, as I look back on that, I'm like, no, they had it right. They had the right idea. I was dumb. I was just constantly depressed and can't believe anybody enjoyed hanging out with me at all, especially a girl who was apparently having fun with quite a few guys. It would later turn out, but I had a massive crush on her anyway, because of the aforementioned adorableness, and that girl, she was a lot of fun. She's just fun. She was down for anything always. You come up with some crazy idea, you're like, let's go, freaking, chuck water balloons at the hippies in the hot tubs or whatever. She'd be like, okay, sounds like a deal. We'll go chuck water balloons at the hippies in the hot tubs, and then they'll leave, and then we'll take the hot tubs. So anyway, she was crazy fun and cute, no stop. But she was also an asshole, but secretly, because she was a liar and she was using people like me, like making me think she all innocent and whatnot, and like trying to play me, and then and then she started dating my roommate, the very same roommate that I was talking about, where we were both going over to see those girls with SpongeBob, where I'm gonna square that circle here in a second. That same roommate started dating this girl that I cared about, that I had been flirting with, and that was kind of like, when Leggy Blonde was originally around, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to keep myself a little distant because I've got this crush on this other girl and it might be working out. I don't know. And like, honestly, it was about to work out. It was like right there. And honestly, I mean, it didn't even need to be right there, as I would later find out, like, to what? Like, hold hands and peck each other on the cheek, you know what I'm saying? Like, good Christian loving. That, like, she was, you know, already much more experienced in other things. And so, like, peck on the cheek ain't friggin' nothing, you know? And I'm not, once again, not shaming. I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of ashamed of myself that I was that naive, you know, but I let my belief system make me unbearably naive. So yeah, that's on me. That is 100% on me. Anywho's it's so yeah, she was putting out the vibe with me, and I was like, oh, this is gonna happen. And then I went away for the weekend because my little sister was like, she was showing interest in one of my friends that was living in Phoenix, and I wanted to be there because, like, I didn't necessarily trust my friend all that much, and as it turned out, that was the correct idea. But she didn't know that I didn't really trust him all that much, and she was assuming that I trusted him more than I did, and kind of put herself in a bad position there for a while. And then later, when we hashed it out, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was a bad brother, and I should have done better by you, but I didn't realize what was going on. So, because I was just trying to support you, and it turned out I was supporting what was actually a fairly emotionally abusive relationship, but I didn't know it because she didn't tell me, because she didn't want to make me feel bad about, you know, a guy that she felt I was better friends with than I actually was. Boy, that was a bad situation. Glad that didn't work out. I mean, their relationship, not the situation where he was an asshole and needed to not date my sister anymore. Anyway, regardless, boy. So, yeah, my roommate started dating the girl that I had a crush on. The girl that I had been talking with him about, like, hey, here's this girl that I have this crush on, and you know that I have a crush on her, and that I've been, you know, working that, and that, like, we're about to get together probably. And I mean, honestly, I probably could have moved a lot faster based on, like, you know, because once again, I'm dealing with someone who's gone farther than I had at that point. And I'm just like, maybe we can hold hands when we go to the box social. And she's like, you know, she's like, yeah, I've done things that, you know, I don't even know if my parents had invented when they were my age, you know, like, anyway. So yeah, she started dating my roommate, and that was pretty heartbreaking. But I still was like, I still would hang out with her all the time in hopes that like I would slide in there when they broke up. And like little did I know that she was playing my friend because she didn't really care about him, but like he asked her to marry him at one point and she said yes, but we can't tell anybody. And so like he had this secret engagement that he couldn't tell anybody about, that he was super excited about, but like actually wasn't even real because she didn't actually feel that way about him, but was just kind of going along with it so she could keep the relationship going, because when she was in that relationship everybody thought she was a good girl, you know, because of the guy that she was with, who was a guy like me who was like, maybe we can hold hands at the box social, you know, because that's the kind of relationship that he had with her. Because we have since hashed it out. Like when things ended very poorly for them, he and I realized that it should have been bros before hoes the whole time. Not because of the, like, looking back, the what a Christian would call the immorality problems that she had. No, not that. It was not that. It was the fact that she was a liar. The fact that she was making out with other dudes, and a lot more than that from what I heard, with other dudes while she's in a relationship with my homie. Like, you know, granted, a relationship that was problematic because he knew that like I was intending to slide in there, but like you know, whatever, like all's fair in love and war. But like the fact that she was lying to him and leading him on and then seeing guys on the side, and then I find all this out, and then she called me up at one point later and was like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, I don't want to know you anymore. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to know you anymore. I'm like, that's the only way that I can put this. I don't know how else I can tell you, but I don't want to know you anymore. And she's like, is it things people said? People say such ridiculous things about me and things that I've done. You know, at this point, she is married. She is married to a Samoan man. So like they're crazy multiracial children, who are probably going to be like freaking adorable. Yeah. Anyway, so, and hopefully have that like sweet Samoan hair. Like, Samoan hair is awesome. It is. Check out a Samoan's hair sometime. It's freaking awesome. Anyway, like if you could inherit any Samoan trait, the hair's not a bad one to choose. You know, giant muscles, sure, but it can go one of two ways in that direction. Either you can look like the guy who carries the Olympic torch for Fiji. Is it the Fijian guy that everybody's crazy about at the Olympics? That like wears a grass skirt and comes out and he's all oiled up and everybody's like, oh yeah, that's my favorite part of the Olympics. Like even straight men are like, that's a lot of oil. That guy looks like he works out. Anyway, so yeah. There, yeah, you could go that way, or you could go like NFL lineman, which like we're talking huge, massive human being, like just massively large. Because the other variety is like, you know, a little bit larger than your average human, but like ripped like you wouldn't believe, like freaking built, like chiseled from, you know, like chocolatey cocoa marble. milk chocolate. Anyway, and the other kind is like lumped together of lumpy plumps, but also like crazy muscly, but also like just big, you know. Anyway, so of the particular dice roll there, I go hair. Because it's not like it's, well, there's good hair and not good hair with Samoans. It's like all the Samoan hair I've ever seen, and I've seen a fair bit of Samoan hair. Like the college that I went to, like, most of the students be white because exactly, but the football team be like 49% 49% black and 49% Samoan, and then of course they have to have a punter. You know what I'm saying? Like a college football team. At a college where everybody else is mostly white guys or white people. Yeah, like that. So like the Samoans really stood out because there's only there's a lot of people on a football team, but it's not that many people on a football team that you can't like notice pretty easily. Like, hey, most of us look like this, like dopey white kids, and that person looks like a Polynesian god. Anyway, it is true. So yeah, that girl who, like, just like cheated and mistreated is what she did to my homie. And granted, like, my homie did me wrong, but he apologized. He knew that what he had done, he shouldn't have done. Oh, I just had an idea. If I break this block, then the little ones shouldn't be able to run out because the height of the campfire. We'll find out. We'll find out pretty quickly. Let's see. I'm gonna need a glass block in case I need to put something down when they get to the other side. Also, make it easier to get items. Anyway, so yeah, this girl, the half Mexican, half Filipina, adorable one. Yeah, she was kind of making fun of the idea of me going on this dance date with this girl, even though the girl that I'm going on a dance date with is a leggy blonde, and that's like just on that assumption alone, like just on the basis of those two descriptors alone, you're imagining someone who's good looking, and she is good looking. Like, she's good looking to this day, as far as I know. Anyway, but like, yeah, girl who toyed with my emotions and like then dated my friend, and apparently it was like she put the moves on him and not the other way around, because she just got bored because I was out of town, and like, it's not so much that like that she got around, because like, not slut shaming, don't care about that part. Like, good for her that she was like, positive sexuality at a time when I very much wasn't. That's not the problem, and that's not the issue. What the issue is that she hurt people. She hurt people that she didn't need to hurt. And she did it because she was bored, it seemed like. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was just trying to have a good time for herself, but using other people to do it. toying with their emotions, like not being even remotely as into relationships that the other person was super much into, and like just not given the kind of fidelity and respect that the other person is given. You know what I'm saying? Like that's is wrong. What she did was wrong. So like, can't support that. Anyway, so she was making fun of me a little bit for going to the dance with Leggy Blonde. She's like, "Oh, you're just gonna go with her?" Because she was still like half Mexican, half Filipina girl was still flirting with me when she was dating my friend, and would tell me things like, "Oh, I'm dating him, but I don't know if it's gonna work out," and like, you're the real closest person. I'm really the closest to you more than anyone, and like, I'm not really that close to him. Meanwhile, like she's telling him like, "Hey, we're engaged. Like, we're gonna get married someday. You and I are going to get married. Absolutely 100% married. That is a thing that's going to happen." And, man and wife living together, building a life together, that is going to work out. Like, we are definitely going to do that with a guy that she had no intention of going through it with. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, not a good person. I cut somebody out of my life who was not a good person. She was a toxic person who, like, she lied constantly. I mean, God knows, like, she probably out there cheating on her husband right now. Like, it's the weekend. That's probably what she's doing with her life. Honest to God, I don't know. And I have not kept tabs on her. Like, I cut her out. It was like, I am literally losing your number. And we have been out of contact ever since. Like, she hasn't contacted me, and I will not contact her. Anyway, but that girl was telling me, like, "Oh, Leggy Blonde, ha 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 ha. Like, you think that's going to work out when you know that I have my hooks in you." And it's like, could you not do this to me right now? Like, I'm trying to live my life, and she's... Anyway, regardless. Now I can't get a wee one. I can't get a small one. Anyway, so yeah. So the dance date was a bit of a rough proposition. Like, it was a little thrown off my game because, I had this other girl in my head. She really got up in my head. And so, like, I just... Here he comes. Yeah, that works. Anyway, so that should work on the half height man, even if I don't get one. So I go on the dance date, and like, I just felt like we didn't click like we should have. Like, I just felt off, and like, I could feel she was putting out the vibe, and I just wasn't picking it up. And honestly, if I'm being perfectly honest, one of the reasons why is because she smelled like soup. And I was like, my God, am I going to be that guy who's like, she smells like soup? Because, like, that's one of the things why So I Married an Axe Murderer, why he breaks off a relationship with an apparently very cool, very good-looking woman. She smells like soup, But she did. This girl smelled like Campbell freaking soup mix in her mouth. And so, like, I mean, that's what her breath smelled like because I was close to her, but we weren't making out. I did not kiss her at all that night. And then things kind of cooled down because I didn't ask her out immediately after. And, but then, like, I could see, like, I was starting to give myself over to the idea that the half Mexican, half Filipina girl, that she was not ever going to work out in my favor and that I needed to move on with my life. And so, like, I was like, hey, why don't we give Leggy Blonde a chance? Because, like, she's a leggy blonde, like, because, what the frick? Was that a little one in there as well? Anyway, but, like, yeah, give Leggy Blonde a chance. Like, one of the dumbest sentences. Like, because most people don't have to be told, like, oh, she has qualities that a wide variety of people find very attractive. Yeah, maybe you should ask her out on a date if she's a super nice person. Oh, she's a super nice person and she's into you, like obviously into you. Yeah, maybe ask her on a date, stupid. Anyway, oh God, I'm almost hit another hour. Holy frick. Where's the time going? This is dumb. I'm not even... Anyway, regardless. I was going to try and do another show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. So, yeah. Then, here's what happened. Like, I got a mohawk, which is hilarious. And, like, because I was into punk at the time. I wore like chains and wore combat boots and stuff. I was a punk guy, even though I was a Christian guy. Totally church going guy, and I say Christian, but that's neither here nor there. There's certain variety that some people know. A lot of people don't, and I prefer to keep it that way. Anyway, regardless, the fact of the matter is that, like, I got a mohawk. Everybody was like, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm totally a punk. And, because, there are Christian punk bands. Like, I think MXPX is a Christian band. I'm pretty sure. There's, like, Christian punk labels and stuff. It's a whole thing. I don't know why I'm talking about Christians. It's weird. Because I'm trying to establish how, like, innocent and normal, like, well, not normal, innocent, that this girl and I are. I'm quickly losing my abilities as I'm getting both very tired and very loopy. So this girl and myself, I see her. I've got the mohawk. She's like, oh my God. She's like actually digging it. And so I'm like, I'm going to ask her out. And I'm like, hey, how would you like to be the only girl who ever gets to go on a date with me with a mohawk? She's like, you're not ever going to do this again? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm probably going to have to hold down a job at some point in my life. Like, I'm probably not going to have... There probably aren't very many mohawks in my future. If I'm serious about this going to college and then going to get a job thing. And I couldn't even keep the one that I had for more than, like, a short amount of time because, come on. Because I had a library job at the time. I was a librarian. And you are not allowed to have a mohawk in the library. At least not that library. There are probably libraries where it's like, of course you can have a mohawk at the library. Anyway, but this was a small town. And so, yeah, I got pulled over by the police, and like I was coming back from a church thing, and I'm like, I'm coming back from a church thing, and they're like, prove it, and I'm like, here, this is my like thing that I got at the church thing, and they're like, oh my god, he was at the church thing. But yeah, I got pulled over. I was on foot, and the only reason I got pulled over is because I had a mohawk. That's it. That's the only reason. Like, you imagine that in this day and age of like so many kids with so many faux hawks? You know what I'm saying? Someone getting pulled over while they're walking on foot because they have a mohawk. Anyway, so I asked this girl, I was like, hey, how would you like to be the only girl that gets to go with me on a date when I have a mohawk? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. We should get pictures and everything. Which, you know, putting out signs, vibes. Of course, we should get pictures, you and I, Leggy Blonde. There's like one picture of us together, I think, somewhere. I didn't even know where I have it. I think I still have it. But it has not come out of a box in many years. Anyway, so yeah, like Leggy Blonde and myself, we go out on a date, and I have a mohawk, and she has a great time, and she like clearly is so excited. Because, like, the only date that we've been on at this point was the one where she asked me. Now I'm asking her, like, it's happening. And, like, and you know, people kind of knew at that point that I was a free agent because, like, I had decided to hang it up with that girl who kept dragging me along even though she was already dating one of my best friends. Like, what a terrible person she was. Anyway, yes, here we go. So, anyway, that girl, the freaking worst, and a terrible person, but like, yes, works. Proof of concept. No, that is the finished product. It's not a proof of concept. It's the concept is proved. Anyway. Oh, God. All the things are still going to be up here. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway. So, yeah. Oh. Wandering Merchant again. I get more leather from murdering him. That's how long I've been playing. This guy only shows up once every, like, hour. At most. Like, that's... Oh, did I not get leather? What a waste. Oh my god. What a waste. Oh, I should keep his... I should just murder him and keep his alpacas next time. Anyway, regardless. Oh, but his alpacas despawn after 40 minutes, I think. Or don't they? No, my daughter had them stay, but mine kept despawning for some reason. Hers actually stuck around. Anyway, oh, my cool underwater lair. I'm digging this. Like, this is pretty awesome. This is one of the cooler things I've ever done. And it's the kind of thing where you actually want square walls, so you get the aquarium type view. Like, could I do like a dome or something? Yeah, but when it's a blocky dome, then it's going to be all crap. So I don't even need a dome. I just have what I have, and it's beautiful. Anyway, enjoying it. So yeah, I take this girl out. She's having the time of her life. Like, she's so happy to be on a date with me. And is like, I should have been asking myself at the time, like, what the frick am I doing in my life that, like, I'm not making out with Leggy Blonde right now? Like, she is clearly like down for for at least that much, you know. Pretty sure she was not part of this other group. Pretty sure she was one of the ones who took it very seriously. Anyway, so along with us, so, like, you know, she was our kind of gal, you know. Only down for the makeout, not down for, like, toying with people's emotions needlessly and pointlessly over a period of years. Anyway, uh, yeah, that's right. Still bitter after all these years. Just kidding. Not bitter, just like disappointed. Disappointed at a waste of potential there, because you could have been a much cooler human being. Anyway, regardless. And I could have been too, but, like, we ain't talking about my flaws and foibles. I'm well acquainted with them. That's right. I'm the senator from. This is like a half a Lindsey Graham right there. Anyway, well, I think President Trump has done a great job at making this country more safe for the virus itself, and that is why we have to blockade the Democrats at every turn. And when that book comes out that says that basically I sold my soul to the devil for a lounger on the side of a nice pool and a basket of curly fries, people are going to realize I sold out my country for that, and they're going to think less of me. And maybe I'll finally fail to get reelected for once in my contemptible life. Anyway, regardless, that's Lindsey Graham. So this girl, I've been trying to tell this story for an hour and a half now. This girl, you know, she was super cute. And, like, she was, like, a really nice person and did laugh at all my jokes and, like, you know, liked me and got me and was, like, nice and whatnot. And I'm not saying this like I'm regretting my lovely wife in any way. My lovely wife is absolutely the person I need in my life. Like, she's it. Like, she's the best. You know, through all this crap that I went through this last week, like, she's been there for me in, like, the best way. She's, like, the best person. So no, I'm not, like, regretting that at all. I have the person that I need in my life. But what I'm regretting is that, like, I asked this girl out again, and, like, I couldn't make myself feel what I probably would have felt if I weren't, like, still hung up on a girl that I wasn't really hung up on, but was hung up on the idea of her, which is what I used to beat myself up with as I continue to concept that, like, you know, this is what God wanted for me because this is what I had to do to, like, get my life the way that he wanted it. You know, scrupulosity, look it up. Some people are scrupulous. And that is where, like, even people just living their best and doing their best, where there's an actual, like, you can point to an actual harm, and be like, oh, this is actually, it's potentially not very good for some people. Yeah. Welcome. Hi, I'm some people. Anyway, so yeah, I just couldn't. And the reason why I couldn't is because I just, it was mostly because I didn't feel like I deserved it. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have, had a relationship with this girl, or like at least had, like one awesome night of like putting tongues in each other's mouths. Because you remember those things, even though you're happy with the way that your life turned out, you remember these things. And it's like, no, I have been valued by people in my life before. I have lived through some things. I have meant something to people other than people who know me now. Like, because it makes it feel like you've had a life. As you get older and you start to look back on your life, it makes you feel like you've had a life if you have meant something to more people. You know what I'm saying? And so I regret not taking opportunities like that to mean something more to someone, even though I wouldn't have it sidetrack me from where I ended up. Obviously, like, very happy with where I ended up in life. It's true. So yeah, things with that girl never went well, and she smelt vaguely of soup, but not always. And I think it was just really that one time, and like she's perfectly fine, and I was just too like overly stupid at a time when I shouldn't have been. Anyway, yeah. So the fun thing is, the regret is not the person. The regret is not the person that I didn't go out with when I could have. The regret is the person that I was not being when I should have been. That's the real regret. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been 3 hours. That's enough for anyone. If you freaking watch this all the way to the end, like if you watch this entire thing, oh my God, your life is in shambles. It's unhealthy what you've done. Your life is a shambles and a shame. We call that a shambles. Patent pending. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.